Howdy, y'all. I just got breakfast delivered to me by my aunt. Y'all get on in here. Howdy, Steph. I really could have used Raphael to go another couple minutes, but that's because my aunt just come by and dropped me off some breakfast. Eat it while it's hot, you know. Normally I wouldn't do this. I'm not the Instagram type of guy that shoots pictures of their food or likes to be filmed while eating. But gotta do what you gotta do. So howdy, Steph. How are you? I know you're waiting on Skip to get home. I'm kind of waiting for Skip to get home too. Also, howdy to any of y'all Dallas Cowboys fans. I know you hate me. Steph's going to be heating up some turkey for leftovers later. I'm sticking to my guns on this. The only good turkey pours out of a bottle. Yeah, I'm pretty okay with that statement. Odie, I'm sorry. It's just a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit from McDonald's. If this makes you hungry, you should see a breakfast on a bun from Whataburger. I'd let you have the other one, but by the time it gets there, I don't think you're going to enjoy it. It's a good thing the Bearcats decided that they were going to not lose. I'm tired of seeing Alabama in the championship game. Or some other SEC team in the championship game. Can we, if we're going to stick to 4 teams, and that's just the way it's going to be, can we make it so that, okay, if the SEC wins this year, they're not allowed to be in the playoffs next year? At least that will allow other teams to maybe win a damn championship every once in a while. No problem, Odie. I normally don't eat 2 sandwiches, but for some strange reason, they threw an extra sandwich in the bag of breakfast sandwiches that my aunt got. But they skipped out on the hash browns. Damn it. Okay, the sandwich is actually more expensive than the hash browns, but I like the hash browns for whatever reason. Actually, what I like to do is I like to stick the hash browns on top of the sandwich and, well, in between the biscuit portions of the sandwich and just eat it all in one shot. Of course, I've been doing that for years, ever since I was working in the plants. You never had time to do any eating. You just sucked down whatever you could. I actually had slightly more time to eat while I was in the military. Okay, while I was in the military, they were feeding me 3 times every meal. I had a really, really high metabolism back then. Shortly after my metabolism shut down, I put on a lot of weight. Struggled with it a little bit. Got it under control. Then I shattered a kneecap and put on more weight. I still have a very healthy appetite. I still eat a lot more than most people. Steph, Waffle House is open, babe. I hate to tell you this, but get that All-Star in a cup of coffee. Make sure you tell them to put pecans in the waffle. Now you're talking meal fit for, well, anybody, but kings and queens, definitely. And Bree doesn't make pancakes yet? Come on, Steph. That should be one of the first things moms ever teach their kids. How to cook. Simple things. Breakfast. There's been plenty of years in my existence where breakfast was what I ate 3 or 4 meals a day, depending upon how many times I could eat. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and do the cool hand Luke thing and say I'm going to eat 50 boiled eggs. But there have been some days where I've eaten a mess of eggs. Eggs, grits. Of course, even mentioning grits gets me thinking about a movie. I'm willing to bet some of y'all know which movie I'm thinking. Odie, I know that feeling. I one time, just to confuse people, I sucked down 2 quarts of eggnog, knowing full well that 2 quarts of eggnog is around 5,000 calories.
Can you find me some vegetable oil? I looked and I can't find it, and I know we have some because I opened some.
Okay, I know exactly where it is. Give me a second. I gotta go find some vegetable oil for my mother-in-law. I promise I will be right back. I know right where it's at. I rearranged the the pantry because with Thanksgiving the way it is, things get pushed around and moved around and everything. So I took everything and put it in baskets to keep them all contained, very similar in locations to what they're used for. There's a baking liquids, Caro syrup, molasses, vegetable oil. It was turned in such a way that the vegetable oil was not visible. It's not that she couldn't see it, it's that she doesn't want to look for it. But I'm not saying it that way. Coffee is always a good thing. Mine is already cold, but that's because it's 50-ish degrees outside right now. Oh yeah, Odie, believe me, I do this every year. I stick everything into baskets so that it's all organized by kind of what it is. That way, when Holly says, okay, let's work on this. Okay, if it's sweet potatoes, I got the cans of sweet potatoes because she likes the cans of sweet potatoes. We tried doing them from scratch one time, and they did not quite turn out the way she wanted to. Just because, well, they kind of fell apart. We boiled them just a little, just a slight little bit too long. And it's really only about 30 seconds difference between just right and too much. And it's a small kitchen, so we do a lot of work arounds to make it work. Howdy, Piper said, great to see you, sir. So with these workarounds, like I said, with, let's say, with sweet potatoes, I know that she likes the sweet potatoes, but she likes chunks of pineapple. So I get her enough cans of sweet potatoes and enough cans of pineapple, and I set them right there next to each other in a basket. And then other things that are in there that I know are going to be right there. It's more of a vegetable than a fruit, even though there might be fruit in the basket that's used in the making of that vegetable. But surprisingly, absolutely zero green bean casserole. Nope. I keep French fried onions. The rest of it is all fresh. Quite literally, make it from scratch. And, man, you would not believe how much better a green bean casserole is from scratch than one out of the can. Just the soup portion, which I guess if you're talking actual chef's language, that's like a bechamel. And I'm telling you, it's so much better to make it from scratch. Thank you, Sid. I appreciate that. Now, I'm just going to try and remind everybody who's out there about that Breyer Report article. The Breyer Report article that I helped produce, that Phil gives me a lot of credit for, but I'm going to tell you, there's some of it is me. Okay. Some of it is we, as in Phil and I, with a little add-in from Jensen and a little add-in from Bill. And then some of it is Phil. Phil really put some finishing touches on there and turned it from basically a statement paper into a really nice article. Like all those links, finding where they could be purchased from, yeah, that's all Phil. I guarantee you. Putting all the pictures in there, that was all Phil also. The idea of trying to make a somewhat comprehensive guide for people who go onto the internet looking at cigars for the first time and trying to break it down into a easy to understand and possibly better way to choose if you're not familiar with cigars. Okay, that was me, I will admit. But that's what I was trying to do, is let's not confuse a person just because they haven't had some cigars. Howdy, Boris. Great to see you, sir. Or should I say, Huva Ilta. It is, well, it's early afternoon there, so. Is that Ilta Pavaya? Said, yeah, you can print it out and definitely give it to your brick and mortar. I think those are the, well, of 13 sticks. If I had to say 13 sticks, if you had those 13 sticks to start with, you could pretty quickly work one way or the other and zero in on what your ideal stick is. I didn't go for anything super peppery. You'll notice that because I stayed off of AJ Fernandez, which I love his stuff, but wow, you got to be real careful with that. I stayed a little bit away from Drew Estates, mostly because it's like, oh, Drew Estates is very polarizing. You have to, you kind of have to know what you're in for when you get there. But like Monte Cristo and H. Upmann. You know what? If they're not carrying a Monte Cristo cigar of some sort and a H. Upmann probably, uh, it's hard to call that a decent cigar shop. Now, a lot of people won't carry a Davidoff lineup because Davidoff wants a certain shelf spacing and they want to come in and put their specific cabinet up and they want it arranged exactly the way they want it. But you could still get Davidoff product by going with the Camacho. And when I picked for the Camacho, I went with something that was light but flavorful, but had that little bit of a bourbon kind of a feel to it. Channel 2 in Houston, Odie, I probably, but quite honestly, watching the local news is kind of more or less depressing. Piper said, Padron. Here is my take. You need 4 brands to open a cigar shop. You only need 4 brands. Monte Cristo, Padron, Fuente, and you really just kind of have to throw something else in there. And if I had to sit there and choose, it's either going to be Drew Estates or Cohiba. Now, the problem with getting just those brands, the only brand that you can get all by itself in all of those is Padron. They don't have sales reps. They have shelf requirement spacing. But they know that their product will sell. And if the shop understands what they've got when they get Padrones, they know that product's going to sell. That's not even a question. Bear Wolf, great to see you, sir. Now, I'm not trying to tell anybody anything about this, but with Fuente, you're going to end up with J.C. Newman. Because J.C. Newman, a lot of their stuff is made at Fuente plants. So you're going to have extra that's coming along with your Fuente. But if you don't have Fuente, you're missing out on a very large section of cigars. With Monte Cristo, you get Henry Clay and Romeo and Trinidad and H. Upmann and Romeo y Julieta. And then you're going to end up with A.J. Fernandez and some other things. Altadis is very into their lineup. And they populate a lot of brands. So that would fill up a goodly portion. Now you'll notice that I didn't even say, oh, I think you should tell them to get Alec Bradley. I like Alec Bradley. I love Alec Bradley cigars.
Do you mind if I sit here while you
Go ahead.
converse?
No.
Okay.
It's my aunt.
The cool one.
Yeah. One of the cool ones. I've got 2. Of course, one's up in Dallas, and I never get to see her.
There you go.
But I also like Southern Draw cigars. But if you're trying to fill up a whole shelf, a whole wall of cigars, you're going to want Padron. You're going to want Monte Cristo. You're going to want Drew Estates. And you're going to want Fuente. If you have those four walls covered, you could have a little bit of everything else that you kind of want. Now, the problem with that is the amount of money that those places want for that kind of a relationship is extensive to begin with. Someone once asked me what it would take to really open up a cigar shop from scratch, and I'm going to tell you, unless you got $1 million, don't even think about coming to Houston and doing it. Your shop is not big enough unless you're going to go $1 million straight out. And you'd be surprised, but a goodly portion of that is going to have to be spent on ventilation. Just be honest. If you walk into a cigar shop, walk through the humidor, buy your sticks, and walk back out, and you already smell like an ashtray, chances of you going in there on a regular basis are pretty slim. They could have the nicest lounge in the world, but a crap ventilation system, and no matter what, you will reek by the time you walk out of there. But they could have a substandard ventilation system. And only 2 or 3 guys smoking. And there it is. That's all it takes. Now you put a top of the line ventilation system in there, and you build the lounge portion to fit the clientele that works or comes in on the regular basis. At first it's going to seem like you're doing it backwards, but that lounge is just a nicety. The lounge does not actually sell a single cigar. You want good ventilation so that people can smoke a cigar while they're there. And that will help sell cigars. And you want a great humidor. If you don't have a great humidor, you're not going to sell anything. You don't have enough selection. I worked at a shop that was the smallest of the 4 shops that were interconnected here in the Houston area. And I had almost 2,000 different facings of cigars. Woo! Boris. Oh my God. 18 degrees Fahrenheit in Finland. I understand what that feels like, Boris. Hopefully I don't have to understand any time within this 12-month span. Said you are so correct. You will definitely come out smelling like a groovy blue, because somebody will light up a groovy blue and the whole shop will smell like groovy blue for the next 3 hours. And it only takes 30 minutes to smoke. Well, Steph, the fact that it was 80 degrees the other day, this 47 does feel pretty chilly. It is not cold. Do not get me wrong. It's not cold. But it's uncomfortable to sit outside for an hour, hour and a half. In the temperatures that it is. All right, Odie, the question comes down to what kind of cigars do you prefer? There are certain cigars in the Davidoff lineup that are crazy expensive and worth every penny, in my opinion. Remember, my opinion. But there are other cigars in the Davidoff lineup that are priced 3 times what they should be. Remember, I worked at a shop. I know what's sold. I know what we could not keep on the shelves, because as soon as we opened a box, it was already walking out the door. If I was to tell you, this is the Davidoff to get, spend your money, get one, enjoy one, and then tell me what you thought about it, it would be the Churchill size of the Davidoff Late Hour. They are aged in Scotch casks, and you get a little bit of that feel, and man, it is a great smoke with enough strength that you actually feel like you've had a cigar, which is my problem with most Davidoffs, is most of them are so light. And when I'm saying most, I mean 85% of all Davidoff product is so light that as soon as I'm done smoking one, I want another one. Flavor? Great. Construction? Great. Price? Strength? Not happening. For that, you need the Late Hour or the Yamasa. Though the Nicaraguan is not bad either. But you'll find the Late Hour and the Yamasa and the Nicaraguan all on like 1/6 of the cabinet space that Davidoff will put into your shop. Yeah, they keep the supply pretty small, but you can't keep them on the shelves, at least not here in the Houston area. And Steph's saying maybe she'll smoke a Padron later. It's always a good stick. Padron cigars, quite literally, if you find a bad Padron, chisel it down on a stone tablet. You won't need a very big stone tablet. You can use a pretty good size font too, because you're still going to have plenty of room left over. Ooh, Boris, -26. Yeah, not going there. No, sir. Not happening. Recovering know-it-all. Howdy, sir. How is Phoenix, by the way? That gives me enough time to take a quick bite. And yes, I am your cigar guru. I do not mind sharing my information with you. Granted, until I know your palate well enough, I can suggest middle of the road something or others. It is a McDonald's sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. But I didn't pay for it. It was delivered to me. It's not bad. I mean, it's not home cooked, but it's not bad. Odie, I was thinking more about the unicorn issue of cigars. There are certain cigars out there that people will pass by because it's from a brand that they're not going to buy from. And they have no clue. Cigars like the Amazon Basin from CAO, which right now is not even being produced. It's going to come out again. It will come out again. But right now, it's not even being produced. But when it comes out, stock up. Huge. There is not another cigar on the planet that is as good for that price. And you're never going to touch it on flavor profile. The closest you can get right now to the flavor profile of the Amazon Basin, and I'm not trying to push any cigar on anybody, is the Romeo 505. And if you're going to get the Romeo 505, sometimes you'll see me wearing an orange hat that says Romeo 505. But it's summer weight, so you're going to have to wait a little while for me to wear that. Now, the Romeo 505 is it has similar notes. It is not an exact match. It is not as good. I like it a lot. It's a damn good cigar. But if you were to tell me right now, I'll give you 5 Amazon Basins or a whole box of the Romeo 505, I'd take the 5 Amazon Basins. Now, if you're just an occasional cigar smoker, let's say one a month, just one. We'll just say one a month. Okay. If you smoke one cigar a month, and you were to buy 3 boxes of Amazon Basins when they first came out. Because if it's done the way it was originally intended, where Amazon Basin is only produced once every 3 years, because where they get their cigar crops from, they can only produce enough leaf to really make that cigar once every 3 years. Now you know why it's kind of like a seriously limited thing and they only do it once every 3 years. And there's a backstory to it that's awesome. But it's just it's a great cigar. I really love that cigar. Okay, cigar shops confused the understood. Recovering know-it-all. They do, for the most part. A good shop will have too many options. You are absolutely correct, sir. They will have too many options for you, the singular consumer. But they will have just about 5 options more than what their actual customer base will smoke. Howdy, Everett. I'm sorry, I should have said howdy earlier. Good Lord. -7 in Canada. Ugh. Y'all are making me cold just thinking about it. So, recovering. Here's the advantage of knowing me. We can talk. We can talk about where your profile is and what you actually kind of enjoy. And I can narrow your focus from a broad spectrum of, oh my God, way too many options, down to, I really only need to look at 8 to 10 boxes tops. I have an extra 20 back over here that are kind of like my reserve in case I can't find anything else. But I know I'm going to like these 8 to 10 cigars. Not saying that you're looking for those every time. But if you walk into Mystery A shop or B shop or wherever, you can say, oh, look, they have this brand. I see a familiar brand that I like. I know I'm at least going to find one cigar I will enjoy. Instead of walking in and going like, oh my God, it's the Taj Mahal of cigars, and I have no clue what cigar I'm actually going to enjoy in here. Oh, and I used to feel that way about cigar shops also. Howdy, Greg. Great to see you, sir. And you might need to go to some kind of therapist if you think this face is pretty. Even Holly doesn't think this face is pretty. And Patches. I'm getting to see. Odie, I do believe that there will be more articles coming up. Now, again, I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of fill that went into that article. Oh, that's you. You have no clue. Well, recover. Howdy, Todd. Great to see you, sir. Recovering. If you can, just for a moment, tell me what particular which particular pipe blend is your favorite, and if you've tried any cigars that you like. Man, Amphora Absolute. That either sounds like it's going to be full of vodka or full of strength. Because it's Everett, I'm going to say probably full of strength. Something on the verge of Old Joe's Haunted Krantz Shop or something. My mighty lion wants in out of the cold. That's all right, James. You don't have to worry about it. I don't care if anybody likes or dislikes my stuff. As was mentioned the other day, in fact, just last night, I might not actually be the most preferred person in Houston. Yeah, maybe it's because I'm a Raiders fan and my team still tends to win. Especially in Mexico City. Oh, you should have seen how they hated me that night. Crown Achievement. And you've only liked Toscano Classicos. Okay. Recovery Know-It-All. I'm not going to give you an exact statement now of which cigars I'm going to kind of zero you in on. But I'm going to be looking through that list and looking through my notes now, because I've got a lot of notes with what you've given me. Lane 1Q, 365. Is that supposed to be 965? Or 36? I mean, if it's 365, that's fine. I'll find it. And Crown Achievement. And then the Toscano Classicos. Alright, so Bear Wolf. Yes, there are some cheap cigars out there that I would definitely recommend. And that would be the Drew Estates Factory Smokes. Now, if you've never, ever had a cigar before, I would suggest when you walk in, you look for the ones with the lightest color. And any good medium starter cigars? Yes, sir. Definitely some good start cigars. Now, as far as medium, are you talking about medium price, medium flavor, or medium strength? Tends to be I can kind of work around some things. So if you like 965, all right. I mean, there's some things I okay, medium flavor. Recovering Know-It-All. I am going to talk about a cigar in the very near future by the name of Jamon. And I'm going to that is Jamon. If you buy a can, they come in cans. Don't get me wrong. It is the only cigar I've seen that comes in a can. And I mean like an old school coffee can. It's strange. It's interesting. but it's aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. And the way they're packaged in that can is phenomenal. They look like little fat sausage links. It is made by Plasencia. And Plasencia supplies tobaccos to, just about every company on the planet. Except for Padron and La Flor Dominicana. Everybody else uses Plasencia tobacco somewhere in their products. Yeah, they're kind of a big deal. Well, the Jamon is a completely small priced cigar. But if you're familiar with the feral flying pig, it's the same exact size and shape as the feral flying pig. Not just the flying pig, which is shorter, but the feral flying pig. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is because of the shape, with it being a 60 ring gauge, it's going to be medium in strength, but a lot of flavor and freaking excellent price. Because if you're getting the can, okay, the can should run around $60. I'm not sure what shipping or tax or anything else is going to run you, and I apologize about that statement. But the product, pre-taxes and all of that, is about $60. Shipped to you 12 in a can, that's $5 each. $5 for a cigar of that quality? You cannot touch that. You can't. The shop that I was in, we were selling them for $10 each and could not keep them. That's right. The markup was double if you didn't buy the can. It was $80 for a can. Still couldn't keep them on the shelf. Literally could not keep them on the shelf. I would get a box every week of about 10 cans. And they would disappear by day 3. Odie, I do not believe I would want to try and leave them inside the can. But they are very reminiscent of a C&D can. It's interesting. That should be their t-shirt. Kind of a big thing. Yeah, sort of. Are you talking about Kilted Piper Steve? Steve understands some good cigars. Recovering Know-It-All, you should be able to get it in a brick and mortar. Hey, Recovering Know-It-All? Phil just told you. And I'll make it easy. There's my email address. That's right. My name with a W in the middle. at gmail.com. Pop up GAW from Phil. Because Phil's awesome. Now, cigars are easy for me because I've been around cigars since I was 17. That's when I smoked my first one. It damn near killed me. Oh, the pain y'all could have been without ever having met me. That, you know. Dingus, what are you trying to remember to bring up on your live? If you're really wanting to know what you should be bringing up on your live, that's the blog that Phil does. If you read it every day, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to take you forever to read every day, just a little bit. If you try to save it for a week, you might want to be sure that you have one of those good long bathroom breaks first thing in the morning so you can really sit down and enjoy it. Not a problem recovering. Not a problem. Now, if you're asking, has Phil tried these cigars? Over the, what's it been, 3, 4, 5 years that I've known Phil now? We've talked some cigars. Not sure if y'all remember, there used to be a guy named Bill Needleman that would show up at these things at Stogie Report. Oh yeah. James, I understand how you're feeling there. Woo, corned beef hash and fried eggs. I would be all over that. That sounds exactly my kind of meal there. Now, not to say that I've known Phil for forever. But he's seen me do some things like how to make a gigantic ash on a cigar. I did it. Showed how to do it. Ended up with a cigar ash, not quite that big, but that was one of my cigar ashes as well. Hey, there's nothing wrong with the Hormel corned beef hash. With a little bit of Tabasco sauce. Okay, let's say it's me. with a lot of bit of Tabasco sauce. But I don't have to have the Tabasco. Just some sliced jalapenos would work too. James, I'm going to have to say that Phil likes punishment. I got to believe that, because he's still a friend of mine after I tried to convince the world that he's actually Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I did that. Howdy, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze. How strong of a cigar would you think that you would like? Now, if you're talking about something that goes good with coffee, first of the day, and something that jump off right away off into, I'm going to tell you, there's not a cigar that I've ever smoked that didn't go pretty good with coffee. Not a problem, Beowulf. You take care. We will see you soon. But yes, Mr. Freeze, if with just a little information, maybe we can get you going. You're saying you don't know anything about cigars. Well, that's perfect. Everett, we always want to keep our ashes long. But the reason why you would want to keep as much ash on there as you can, it makes it so that the air actually more or less slowly warms up instead of hitting that cherry right off. And keeping a nice long ash means that you're steadily smoking it at a nice relaxed pace. You're not heavy huffing on it, and you're not letting it go out. You're at that nice, perfectly comfortable pace. And that is what really pipes and cigars are mostly about. Relax, have a nice, comfortable pace, and enjoy yourself. Well, James, I've always pretty much enjoyed black coffee. Not really big on creamer or sugar type guy. Now, Piper said you are very correct. It also proves that your cigar has good construction. A cigar with craptastic construction is going to have an ash that's going to split in about 12 different directions, and it won't hold more than an inch. A great cigar, you could smoke it 5.5, 6 inches and hold the ash out sideways and watch as it just literally hangs out there. That picture I showed you, that's a 6-inch cigar with less than an inch left. I mean, it was at the point where you either pull out your nub tool and start burning your lips, or you put it out. Well, James, your dad wasn't wrong about sex. I guess. I mean, you're alive, right? Uh-oh. Not a problem recovering know-it-all. I will get that. I will get your address passed on to Phil as directly as I can. Remember, it's my name with a W in the middle at Gmail. And there's a 4 at the very beginning of it. Not the word 4, but the number 4. Steph, you did dishes, but did you break any? I won't ask you about bathroom facility pieces. I mean, I know. Everett, that used to be very faux pas. People would tell me all the time, you don't know what in the hell you're doing. Oh! Okay. Y'all remember I was tailgating for my pipe and I. So we're going to go hang out with Eden. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun having y'all around. Mr. Freeze, hit me up on this email address. That is for Donald W. Hughes at gmail.com. That way we can kind of continue talking about which cigars you might actually like. Wait, you're saying Eden's not live? Is he live or not live? Quick, somebody tell me. For whatever reason, my ding thing is not happening. It didn't go off when Mike started his show. Didn't go off when Martin started. Didn't go off for Cane Rod. It's like it hasn't dinged in a week, which means I probably need to refollow everybody. Okay, so he is live. All right. So, y'all remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Do the best you can with that. As per always, y'all remember, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. I'm hoping to see all of y'all again soon. Bye for now.